Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Did you know that every 4 minutes someone dies in a road accident in India? Did you know that a serious road accident takes place virtually every minute in this country? Did you know that more people die in road accidents than they do from AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria put together? Well, we hear horrific stories of India's killer roads nearly every day. And yet it took the tragic death of Union Minister Gopinath Munde to jolt everyone. So tonight we're starting NDTV's Road Safety Campaign, looking for solutions to make our roads safer. You can join us online on ndtv.com to register your support. Well, we're going to begin tonight's show with the heartbreaking story of Jyoti Gupta, who watched her 3-year-old daughter and husband die right in front of her after Haryana Roadways bus ran over them in April. Jyoti has written to the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, asking for a tougher road safety law, and she's also started a petition to make India's roads safer. It takes a lot of courage to do what Jyoti is doing in the face of such trauma and traumatic circumstances. My colleague Tanima spoke to her just a few days ago.
मैं और पंकज बड़े खुश थे, काफ़ी एक्साइटेड थे अपने बच्चे को फर्स्ट डे स्कूल जाता हुआ देखने के लिए। और जब उसे छोड़ने गए, जस्ट हमें निकले हुए 5 मिनट ही हुए थे वहाँ खड़े हुए, एक हरियाणा रोडवेज की बस आई। उसने पता नहीं किसी को ओवरटेक करती हुई आ रही थी, काफ़ी रॉन्ग साइड आई वो, और मतलब मुझसे भी क्रॉस करके गई। फिर मेरे हस्बैंड को और बेटी को उसने हिट किया। मेरे पास टाइम नहीं था बचने का, बट हाँ, क्योंकि बच्चा था मेरी गोदी में, तो इसको जस्ट मैंने कवर किया। बिल्कुल टाइम नहीं था, कस के पकड़ा और मैं टिल्ट होके थोड़ा जो कांटे थे इस साइड उस पर गिर पड़ी। यहाँ पे ये सोच होनी चाहिए कि अब लाइफ जो होती है वो प्रीशियस है, सस्ती नहीं है। ड्राइवर्स को एक तरीके से वेपन दे दिया जाता है कि जाओ पब्लिक प्लेस पे जाके और मारो और 2 घंटे में तुम्हें बेल हो जाएगी। क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ लॉ जो है इंडिया में अपडेट ही नहीं हुआ है। एटलीस्ट इंडिया में कुछ स्ट्रिक्ट लॉ ऐसा होना चाहिए जिससे सब में ये डर आए कि अगर हम कुछ गलत करेंगे या हम अपनी लेन तोड़ के या स्पीड बढ़ा के कुछ करेंगे या किसी की जान लेंगे तो हम नहीं बचेंगे। मैं मतलब ये उम्मीद करती हूँ कि हाँ, वो एक्शन लेंगे, वो कुछ स्ट्रिक्ट लॉ लाएंगे पार्लियामेंट में। इसलिए मैंने ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के थ्रू अपना दिया है, क्योंकि अब मैं नहीं चाहती जो मेरे साथ हुआ वो और किसी लेडी के साथ हो या किसी के भी साथ हो। कोई अपना फैमिली मेम्बर खोए, कोई अपने बच्चों को अपने आंखों के सामने जाता हुआ देखे, मैं नहीं चाहती।
Well, you can join Jyoti's campaign as well. You can log on to ndtv.com/saferoads. Her petition is on our website and you can sign up as well. Well, I spoke just a little while earlier to Union Health Minister Harsh Vardhan. He's been someone who's been very vocally campaigning for a law that would make wearing your rear seat belt compulsory, for instance, also wearing helmets compulsory. I spoke to him just a few minutes ago. Dr. Harsh Vardhan, you lost your friend and colleague Gopinath Munde in a road accident recently, and you've talked about making it compulsory to wear rear seat belts as well as helmets. Now, have you already begun talking to various stakeholders about this? How soon can this happen?
See, I think it can happen. As far as I know about law, most probably this is already a part of the law. And it's a question of enforcing it strictly, most probably. And even if there is a need to amend the already existing law or make some new regulations, they have to be done. I have informally spoken to the concerned minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, and he also seems to be keen on this, because this is something very, very important for the people. This is a law which is going to be a friendly law for the people. After all, the seat belts are not for decorative purpose, they are for the safety of the people. Helmets are also for the safety of the people, and we have lost so many people on the roads, and we continue to lose them on the roads every day. So this is right time when Gopinath Mundeji's death should prove to be a turning point in India's history for making really stringent laws for all over the country, and I am going to take up this matter in the Central Council of Health also with all the health ministers of the country,
right,
and convince them about convincing their own state governments to actually enforce this particular law all over the country. I have been watching people taking this issue of seat belts and helmets quite casually all over the country.
So what about the issue of
rise to the occasion?
Yeah, but so what about the issue of enforcement? Now you talked about that as well right at the beginning. The fact is you have to depend on states for enforcement, and how are you going to ensure implementation?
I think we have to develop some sort of a social movement on this issue. I am so glad that you have taken up this issue, and a lot of media people are taking it up in a very serious manner. And it is the time when a lot of NGOs and those who are working in road safety and really working for the you can say betterment of the society and for protecting the society, they all will take up this, and I intend to take it up with the school children also. So I feel that over a period of time we should be able to convince people that this is something for your betterment, for your safety, for protecting your life, for protecting your family members from the sufferings of the misery of a death of a close relative.
What about the issue of law enforcement? Now, you know, for instance, the fact is it is actually punishable under law to not wear a seat belt, but often the police look the other way, they don't enforce the law. So sensitizing the police and the authorities is as important, and that's a big challenge for you.
I think it has not been happening in the true sense, because the people who have to actually assert, maybe the politicians or the government systems or those who are the administrators, they don't have that strong will and determination to carry it forward. As far as I am concerned, I am the health minister of the country. This is my duty to protect everybody's life, to protect their health, and I will do whatever is possible at my end to convince all relevant people in the government system, in the administration, and of course in the police also. And as I said, I will convince my own colleague health ministers of the country to make it a big issue in the country and prevent lakhs of people from dying on the roads.
All right. Well, Dr. Harshvardhan, good luck to you. It's a very complex and complicated issue and a big challenge that lies ahead for you. Well, joining us here in our panel discussion tonight, we have an audience of young people here in Delhi. This is, of course, an issue that affects everyone all over the country. We've got Sunita Narayan, the Director General of the Centre for Science and Environment, who herself was the victim of a road accident while cycling near the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. That was in October last year. And she's been talking about the need to particularly protect pedestrians and those who are using cyclists, and there's so many of them who are the victims of road accidents in this country. We also have with us Arjun Singh. He's Jyoti Gupta's brother. Jyoti, as we said, couldn't be here with us tonight, but Arjun's really helping her in this campaign and with this petition, taking this forward. Helping them also is Piyush Tiwari, the founder and president of Save Life Foundation. So Piyush has really made this one of his central campaigns. Also joining us tonight is Soumit Pangte, IIT Delhi student, who also began an online petition for road safety after losing your friends in a road accident. We also joined by Alok Mittal, the Police Commissioner of Gurgaon, and Maxwell Pereira, the former Joint Police Commissioner of Delhi. I'd like to ask Mr. Alok Mittal first that, Mr. Mittal, we heard first, we began the show with Jyoti's case and Jyoti Gupta's case, and the biggest criticism that your police faced in that was why the driver was able to get out on bail so quickly. Now, that's the first aspect of this, that the criticism that the police faced in Gurgaon was why there wasn't a stricter law under which he was booked, and why was he allowed to get away with it, in a sense?
We all know all the cases of rash and negligent act, which includes death caused by rash driving. These are covered under 279 and 304A of IPC. 304A IPC is unfortunately a bailable offence, and that needs to be revised. We have been saying that cases of road accidents in which the driver has driven negligently, oversped, he has been driving while he is drunk, so that should be made non-bailable. In this case, which you just mentioned, we initially registered a case under 279 304A, and later the DCP of the area and the FSL expert, they visited the spot, carried out analysis, and it was found to be a case of extreme negligence, and driver, for no reason, he caused death of 2 persons. So we converted the case from 304A to 304 IPC Part 2. That means culpable homicide not amounting to murder, and we re-arrested the driver, and the driver of that vehicle, of that roadways bus, is in jail now.
Okay, so he is in jail now. That is an important fact, and that is an important step that you've taken, because Arjun, that was the initial outrage, particularly in this case, that this wasn't just a case of gross negligence. This was so much more than that. Are you hopeful that now that he is behind bars, that there will be at least a speedy trial in this? Has the media's attention on your case given you some hope that this will move ahead?
Yes,
quickly?
Definitely. Actually, Jyoti Gupta, my sister, is also somehow now satisfied that he is behind the bar. Earlier he got the bail, we were doing criminalization, we got to know that yes, he got the bail, and we all were like, what is happening? 2 dead bodies are in front of us, and he's on bail. So that was the most tragic news which I got to know at that time. I'm thankful to the media and to the police commissioner, sir, that he is behind the bar and he's now under section 304 part 2. It is because of the efforts of Commissioner sir and Trihan sir also. And but ultimately this is happening in India, that he was just 1 month old. He joined this Haryana Roadways 1 month old, 1 month before, and he was driving that bus during that crucial time when school children are going on their way to school.
Yeah.
So that was the point which we are not being able to understand, that why on such crucial time, I mean, authorities are giving buses to those drivers who are not even skilled and not even experienced.
They shouldn't be on the roads at any time, actually. That's a fact.
That's a fact.
I just want to ask you though, before I widen this, to how Jyoti has sort of found the courage to, go ahead with this petition. I mean, something obviously inside her snapped, yes, to say that that she needs to do something about this. So how has the response been to your petition? I believe there are thousands of signatures already.
Yes, we have registered the petition through change.org. We are getting the good response. People are connecting, joining with us, because mostly people are affected because of this road accidents, and they all want the change. They all feel like that now this is enough. What we are going through is like no one is taking care of you. When you go to go on the road, no one feel like that you are safe. So that is a kind of change which we want through this petition, that at least Modi sir should realize that we should get a strong law regarding this.
But you have your online petition, you have one, there are other petitions as well. And so Piyush Tiwari, when Harshvardhan says that no, we are going to make this a priority, I'm going to talk, we're already talking to stakeholders. Road safety has never really been a political priority in this country. Let's face it, it's not been Parliament's priority either. Do you believe that with Gopinath Munde's death, something will change? Or do you believe that we're going to forget about this in a couple of weeks?
Well, there are a couple of things. One is that it has not only been a political priority, it has also not been an administrative priority. If you look at any state's DGP's fortnightly crime review, road safety doesn't figure in any of their list of top 30 items or top 20 items. So it's really a low priority item. Unfortunately, Mr. Munde, passed away, and there's been a lot of movement around it after that. The Honorable Minister of Transport last week has announced that India will get a stronger road safety law, that the Motor Vehicles Act will be repealed, and we are involved in that process of drafting a new law along with multiple stakeholders. So we're hopeful that the law will be drafted. For it to be passed, we will need political will. We will need to make sure that the Parliament does not water it down. They agree to the demands of petitioners and to stakeholders that it should be a stringent law, and that it will be passed through the Parliament. And then the next challenge is going to be implementation of that law. That how will it be implemented? Are we going to rely on older means of enforcement, or are we going to develop newer, more innovative, technology-driven means of enforcement of the law? So I think all those things have to be have to be taken into account, and it's only once the enforcement starts that we will really start seeing some change on the road.
I'm going to break this down into these, because this is a very multi-layered issue actually. And Sunita Narayan, I wanted to begin with firstly what Arjun said about this driver of the Haryana Roadways bus who had got his license just a month before. How easy it is to get a license. In fact, Jyoti's petition mentions that it's easy as getting pizza delivered to your door. That's how easy it is to get a license in this country. I remember my driving test, as it were, where it was multiple choice. I actually went to study for it, and the policeman who was on duty told me, why did you bother? आप कुछ भी tick कर लीजिए, आपको तो license मिल जाएगा ना. You know what the driving test was? A U-turn, a lousy U-turn on the Saket road. That's it. I passed the driving test. Whether I'm a good driver or not, I don't know. But I know that wasn't a proper driving test or a proper driving exam. That's how easy it is.
No, Nidhi, I mean, obviously the systems, I mean, we have started driving. We love our cars. Our roads are choked with our cars. But we do not have the systems to regulate the driving on roads. And that's really at the base of it. The Motor Vehicles Act was written at a time when car driving was a luxury. When it was seen that if you drive a car and if you hit someone, it is not something that you need to be taken to court or you need to go to jail for it. I think it's time that we actually started fixing it, and you're very right. One of the basic issues is to fix also the fact that how do you get licenses? I mean, one of your biggest problems is not just private licenses, it's about two other things which I'd like to link to this, commercial licenses. You do not, today there is a huge challenge of finding bus drivers, because you do not have proper schools which train people in commercial vehicle driving, and it's something that is absolutely imperative that we have, and you have to have proper licensing for commercial drivers. And then you need a database. Big problem in Delhi today is, and I'm sure in Haryana it's even worse, so you catch a car, you find that the car has violated, has done some traffic violation. You will not be able to get the right address of the car. So you cannot send a notice at home to say that here you have violated a traffic violation and you have to pay up. You have to either catch them on the road, fine them, but you cannot do what the rest of the world does, is to send a notice by post and people have to pay up.
But you have to begin by making it more difficult to get a driving license.
No, absolutely. But you also need a database,
yeah.
Nidhi. You need a database.
I just want to know from the audience, how many of you got a license pretty easily? Now, come on. I mean, I told you my story. Yeah, let's just get some audience comments here. Can we get a mic for this gentleman? Yeah, can you pass the mic? Yeah, did you, you can drive, you got a license?
Yeah, I got
How
a
easy
license.
was it?
I got a license for a motorcycle and a car, both, but the driving test was pretty funny. Like, they asked me to drive just 10 meters and that was it.
So you had a 10-meter driving test.
Yeah,
that means you had, yeah, I think yours was maybe more than mine. Anybody else here about their own experience of getting a license? Yeah, this gentleman here. Can we pass the mic to him? Yeah.
I remember that when I went there, I just got my license because of my dad only. I mean,
oh God.
Yes.
Wow, that's even worse.
Was that in Delhi? This happened
Yes.
in Delhi?
But I am a good driver. It doesn't mean that I am a bad driver. I am a good driver.
I'm sure.
But I seriously feel that there strongly needs that these things should be revised again. Okay, because we have our own car. Okay, we have our parents sitting at the back, and then there is a person who is sitting next to us who is telling us, please भैया ये घुमाइए, ये करिए, ये करिए. So in this thing, one cannot rightly drive the car. I mean, one cannot judge at the first sight कि भाई he knows how to drive or not.
No, but
Roads in Delhi are much more.
But Nidhi, if
I
I
think-
can
yeah, and then
interject
Piyush,
here,
yeah.
I just want to say, see, driving license we all know is broken. We need to improve it. But if you make the punishment for wrong driving, for irresponsible driving tougher, it will also force people to make sure that the driving license test is also there. Right now, we don't even have the enforcement is the key to this, in my view.
But there's also something called social civic conscience, right? And we don't have that in this country.
I
Maxwell Pereira, you've spoken, I think, in the past about the fact that people, you know, are always looking for excuses in this country. No one's willing to step up and take responsibility and say, look, this is my duty as well. You know, I have to make sure that there's a certain civic duty that I follow. We don't do that. We're just culturally not like that.
Nidhi rightly said The main thing is that, you see, I'm never at fault. It's always somebody else is at fault. If I have an accident, if I commit a, get into a fracas, it's always somebody else who did this or did that, and because of which, this thing happened. Now, these are the kind of behavior patterns on the road. And here it is, I believe the educated violate more than the uneducated. That having said, there are many points touched by all the speakers that you spoke to in this debate just now. Most of the points that Sunita has made are the ones that need particular attention. Driving license, I have taken pains, I have been at pains to really explain what is road safety, what are the three constituents, the main constituents of road safety, which is, engineering, education, and enforcement. Now, these three things, how the engineering can avoid or prevent violations from taking place, how education can enforce, ensure that somebody doesn't violate because he knows that, that particular thing. This is the only country in the world where we need a policeman to make you follow the red and the green at a traffic light point. Nowhere in the world will you find policemen at a traffic, light junction. Why is it so in this country? Why are we flooding our roads with policemen? And after all, in the end, these policemen have to be paid. There are expenses involved, and who pays for them? And you can keep harping, you can keep screaming, saying that you must get more policemen, there should be more visibility and blah, blah, blah. No, that is not. Today, I have explained in other interviews before, we are concentrating on enforcement, not the other two things of, engineering and education.
Okay, let me take that.
Why should the police?
Yeah.
If I could just, give me a minute, because these are very crucial points. Why do you want the traffic police to educate? Why should they be educating? You are required to be educated before coming on the road.
Exactly, but that's exactly my point.
This is where the licensing, what Sunita spoke.
Yeah.
The licensing has to ensure that you are fully aware of the road rules and you are fully, geared to follow those road rules before you get your license. Your aptitude, your every single thing that is required. It is not that, after you come on the wheel that you are to be taught. It is before you come on the wheel that you are to be taught.
How many people
and
here?
These are the kind of things.
Let me just
but then you, Nidhi Razdan, will be the first to point a finger and say, why are the police not doing their duty?
I'm not. I'm actually saying
this is not the police duty.
I am saying that there are multiple layers to this, but I think the primary responsibility comes from citizens who just don't care. Nobody will follow the rules. They'll drive. I know I drive on the roads every day. I have about 10 heart attacks a day. I mean, how many people here sitting here know all the road signs? Honestly, because I can honestly say even I probably don't know either. Do we? Anyone here can confidently say you know all the road signs?
Follow even when they know.
No, exactly. So we don't do that. So Samit, I just wanted to get him in on for the first comment on that. That is that the biggest problem that you face, because your petition has been there for some time now, for some months. Is just getting, even your own colleagues to understand why this is important, because a lot of people, they hear road safety, oh, you're doing a campaign, oh God, yet again, it draws that kind of response from people, that they don't take it seriously enough. We don't take it seriously enough.
Yeah, exactly. Even after losing 4 of our colleagues, so we started off a petition and we were hoping that many students would be involved in it, because it's a issue that students need to understand. But as a student, I myself didn't understand what road safety actually meant. I took a course in my college called BML 330 that was taught by our Professor Dinesh Mohan. Then I actually realized what road safety actual dimensions are, like the dimensions that he says about engineering, about education and about enforcement. We have not been concentrating at any point about the engineering aspects of it. You are talking here about we will getting proper licenses, but even after getting licenses, you are bound to make mistakes. That there will be a chance that you would make a mistake, you would speed on a road if you given the chance. So how about let's make the road in such a manner that you can't go any time with any of your efforts above 50 kilometers. Make roundabouts, make speed breakers, get speed breakers involved. Make it so that you don't get the chance to speed above 50. If you are not getting above 50, how can you be involved in a very serious accident? Crashworthiness of cars, let's talk about them. That's a very big point in our petition. Nobody at present can say that their car is actually fail safe, that even after wearing that seat belt and if you are involved in accidents above speeds of 40, your life will be saved. Can any one of you, even with your luxury cars, can say that? No. There was a newspaper article that a committee that checks international standards for car safety tested their standards on Indian cars, and none of them passed. None of them. And these are the cars that we are supposed to drive and say, get involved in an accident and have a life saved.